The Shattered Space DLC is meant to feel more handcrafted than the procedurally generated stuff in the base game, because it is a handcrafted planet this time. Basically, the DLC takes place on a single planet called Varun Kai that is said to feature more than 50 handcrafted locations. This planet is meant to feel alien and intends to fix some of the biggest issues players have with the base game, like the empty and repetitive procedural generation. The fact that the entire DLC takes place on this planet, and especially its capital city, Dasra, is also pretty different from the base game, which had us hopping around to tons of different planets, and therefore was often bombarding you with loading screens. So I reckon this DLC has the potential to immerse you better in its world and storyline. The planet Varun Kai is home to House Varun. They are basically a fanatical cult that worships and supports the deity they call the Great Serpent. The story begins a few weeks after some experiment went wrong and tore a hole in space-time, swallowing up a part of the main city. You show up in the aftermath. The leader is missing and different factions are fighting for control. As for when you start this DLC, we don't have official information on this yet, at least to my knowledge, but in most Bethesda games you can play DLCs in any order you want, so assuming that this is the case with Starfield would make sense to me. It is worth mentioning that if you own the premium edition, the DLC is included and you will not have to buy it for 30 euros. The DLC clearly has a darker, perhaps almost horror-style approach, with all these creatures that can slip through from the other side. They have changed up the combat too. Instead of mostly long-range shootouts like in the main game, it's more up-close and chaotic. Ambushes are to be expected and you will have to deal with more aggressive enemies. Something that I hope we can expect is a more coherent and impactful narrative here, as the storyline is more tightly connected with the environment, if that makes sense. And that sentence concludes today's video. If your time was respected, a like or comment is very much appreciated.